19th, and so we're getting kind of in the middle of spring here. Well, of course, in Georgia, it looks like we maybe have bypassed spring and gone straight into summer with days getting in the mid-80s, and things are humid, pop-up thunderstorms, and that's normally kind of how our summer is, of course, with our days getting up in the 90s. But anyway, with that, we've seen a lot of changes happening in the garden. Several things going on around here. To tell you the truth, I was very concerned there for a couple of weeks because nothing was coming up. I really thought that maybe I planted way too early, but then, as always happens, it seems like the plants decided to kind of start working, and so I'm excited about that. So here we go. Let's go with an update on the garden. Here to the blueberry bushes, you'll notice that the berries have really started to come in. They're not quite ready yet, still probably need a couple weeks or so to fully ripen. These bushes are only about 2 years old, so I'm excited. They seem to be growing really well. Blueberry bushes I've always had some success with, especially if they get plenty of sun. So not a hard plant at all. I just stick one in your yard. Keep the weeds off, keep the little sprouts that come up from the roots off, and then make sure that you get two different varieties. That's something that's interesting about blueberries, is they have to cross-pollinate, so make sure that you get two different varieties if you're going to get some blueberry bushes. Here, you'll notice that the wildflowers are doing much better. We don't have any buds or blooms yet, but they're coming up. Might be kind of hard to see down here on this side, but we've got some tomato sprouts coming up, coming along this end. Now, the tomatoes that were planted over there, for whatever reason, they weren't coming up, and so I'll show you some transplants that I'm going to deal with in just a second. So we still have some tomatoes that we'll be able to get over there. The mint seems to be a little bit kind of fickle. If it doesn't get water, it seems like every day it seems to get a little bit wilted, and so right now it's doing well. We've had rain the last several days, so right now it looks to be doing pretty well. You'll see the blackberry bushes, or I guess the blackberry plant, has really kind of sprung to life. We've got a couple of buds on there, so looking forward to maybe getting a couple of blackberries this year. Obviously not going to do a whole lot, as small as it is, but excited, but looking forward to that. Now over here in our box, this is probably where we've had the least amount of success. I've had some cucumbers come up, but then they wilt and they die, or insects get to them or something like that, so we're just going to have to keep trying for the box. Not really sure what's going on with that, but we'll see what we can do. Over here things are going really well. You see the spinach plants are really coming up. Just harvested some spinach last night, got a fair amount. Over here I've got some Swiss chard. You'll see the over here, that's just some spinach that I discarded, threw back in the garden, let it disintegrate into the soil. We got some Swiss chard here, and then over here. So glad to see that come up. I'm not really sure what that is. It looks like a kind of lettuce. I planted just a bunch of stuff over there, and something finally started to spring up, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. Looks like I don't know, some type of lettuce we got going on over there. Now over here, this is where I was talking about just a few minutes ago. We got some volunteer tomatoes that have sprouted up from our tomato plants from last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those and transplant them over to the other bed so that we can, because I want to leave this completely devoted to spinach over here, because otherwise the tomato plants will shade out the spinach, and I don't want that to happen. What I'm really excited about is that my fig tree, or I guess my fig bush, has started to come back. I was kind of sad because I enjoy figs, and I like what fig plants can do, and so I planted this one, and the one seemed to die, but this spring the root system has started to shoot out some leaves and whatnot, and they seem to be doing really well. So I'm hoping that that'll come back, very similar to the blackberries. So maybe that's a lesson right there, especially for bushes and trees and things like that. Even if you like it, and even if things don't seem to be going very well, cut it back. Maybe just give it some time to resprout and to regrow. So there's the fig plant. Hopefully, obviously very small right now, but hopefully it'll come back, and it'll look pretty good by the end of the year. One thing before we go, actually, the reason I made this video is because a student in one of my classes actually asked for an update on the garden. So shout out to Zion. Thanks for the request. Hope you guys did well on the AP test, and have a great summer. That's all that's going on with the garden right now. So far we've only been able to harvest the spinach. Hopefully within the next month or so we'll start getting some tomatoes. and the blueberries will be ripe. Then maybe we'll get some blackberries as well. One last thing though, you'll notice in this particular video we didn't show the bunnies. That is because the bunnies have met an unfortunate end. One of our rabbits just happened to die one day, and so we lost Sweet Coffee. And then the very next day, sadly, Cottontail decided to run away. We were out of the house, and Cottontail was able to escape. Have no clue where she went off to, and so no more bunnies for this year. So we learned some things about rabbits, taking care of rabbits, and how they operate, things like that. So we enjoyed it while they were here. More than likely we're not going to get any more for the summer, but we'll look to maybe get some in the fall time where we're not quite as busy and we're home a little bit more often during the fall than in the summer. So anyway, there's our garden update. Hope you guys are doing well, and thanks for watching as always. Hope to see you next time.